I don't even want to look at this strummed section because it'll take me forever. I don't really have time for it, and honestly, I know it's gonna be worse than that. Maybe I'll come back another day and I'll film a little extra for you guys of me doing the strummed section so you can hear how bad that turns out, because I know that would be really bad trying to fix this. That would take hours. Anyway. Hi guys, it's Summer, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, then welcome to the chaos. I do all things music related on here, from audio engineering style content to production and songwriting challenges to just talking about music and musician life. Today, is this a production challenge? Probably not. It's more just sort of production content. I had a brainstorm the other day with a friend about some content ideas, because basically I reached the point where I didn't really have a list of content ideas. I was just sort of trying to come up with stuff as I needed to film videos. I've come up with a few different content ideas, and one we realised could be a little bit of a mini-series called Fix It in Post. Because obviously, these days, with the fancy programs that we have like Logic, there are things that you can fix in post that you didn't really used to be able to. I mean, to a certain extent, you could fix things in post in the past, but the truth is, when you were recording to tape, a lot of it was you needed to get it right in the session, and if you didn't, you weren't really going to be able to fix it that well. But now, you can basically fix whatever you want. Can you? You know, if you've recorded something in the wrong kind of space and you're trying to fix it with something like EQ later, chances are you're not going to get the sound you wanted out of that instrument still. You're just going to get a sound that maybe doesn't have a couple of those buzzy frequencies in it that you didn't like, but those frequencies being all pulled out of the track overall is not actually leading to a good sounding track. Anyway, things like that are pretty important to consider, and most of the advice that I've gotten from audio engineers in the industry is that you should never aim to fix it in post. You should always aim as much as possible to get it right in the session. So we thought a little series where I purposely do bad recordings of some kind and then try and fix them would be a little fun thing. And I've decided to start with acoustic guitar, my favourite thing to talk about on this channel. How many different videos have I made now where acoustic guitar recordings are like one of the main? I've got several others planned now as well on the list. It's the thing I record the most, what can I say? Anywho, so what I have done today is I have done an acoustic guitar recording that I did to a click, and I've done one that I didn't do to a click. They're both supposed to be the same kind of tempo. I've used Stop the Clocks again. I've just thrown a drummer track on afterwards. Even when you're using a click, you're not going to get things perfectly in time. And I actually usually don't record to a click. I actually usually record to a drummer track or something like this. I maybe should have done that instead, done what I normally do. Because honestly, clicks do feel really unnatural, and it is really easy to end up sounding quite robotic when you're playing to a click. And obviously there's not much you can really do to fix that in post. Like if the recording sounds lifeless, you definitely can't fix that in post. Which is why I understand why a lot of people are quite adamant that not recording to a click and trying to record as much as possible just sort of free flow like that gives you more life to it, and that can be true. But the problem then comes in if you're doing a track where you've got lots of individual parts going on and they're all getting recorded separately. If nobody records to a click, then how the hell is anything going to be in time? But in this case, I recorded to a click because the video is about recording to a click. So, and this first bit here is the bit that I recorded to the click. So it is already mostly pretty in time. I'm just going to enlarge the audio file so we can really see it. It goes a little bit out of time towards the end here. This one, how in time is this bit? Where does it start? This already doesn't look very in time to me, in that this looks like it's longer than this. Let's find out. Did a decent job of coming in the right place. Oh, we're already out of time. Oh, we're very out of time. We're sort of hitting on beats of some kind at moments, just not the right ones. Because obviously, this being as in time as it is already, you wouldn't really need to do much to it to get it to line up well with your other instruments. I'd maybe go in and I'd just polish it up, and we'll just do a little bit of that so you can hear a little bit of the difference between one where you've just polished some things up and nudged some things ever so slightly back in time, and one where you've had to literally push everything back to where it's supposed to actually be. So I ever so slightly came in too soon there, which is a really easy fix because there's a nice big gap between what I play there and there. But I'm back in time by that. So we'll just, let's see if we nudge this whole thing back, how that sounds. Perfect. If I nudge that whole thing back, it now sounds perfect. You just put a little fade in like that. Boom. We're getting ever so slightly slower from here onwards, I think, isn't it? So actually a little bit faster there. That's where I start to speed back up again. Because I think I realised I was going out of time. So if I just cut to here, ever so slightly forward. A little fade again. Check that that sounds good. That all sounds fine. Do I need to fix that? No, because I just sort of get myself back in time, all right. But maybe if this were a track I was actually working on, what I would maybe do here is I would go to my MIDI drums and I would fix them to the timing of the guitar, because the guitar doesn't sound like really weird and unnatural there. And you can do that, obviously. Everything doesn't have to be perfectly in time with that click. They all just have to be in time with each other. And every now and then it's okay to take an instrument that was more in time and knock it a little bit out of time to be in time with whatever was not so in time. Shall we have a quick look at this strum section? So let's just bring all of you forward first. So I want to bring it more in time again here. I started a little bit late. I was going a bit too slow and falling behind more, but eventually I fell back in time with the click, just not on the right beats. So I'm back to the right timing, the right tempo, but I'm just not hitting the beats in the right point. So once you fix the bit that went out of time, the rest is in time and gets pulled back in. But yeah, this is one where I would have redone this, because there is a certain feel that you can tell the next strum is coming before I naturally played it. It's all sitting in time now, but you can kind of feel that my hand hadn't actually moved to make that next chord at that moment. Those are the little things you end up losing when you're trying to fix timing like this. Let's have a look at the really bad one so we can really hear this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to move all of this all by like 2 bars so it's lining up better with the drums in terms of the sections. Boop. There we go. Now it's going to start in the right place. Put that back to tick. Okay. Okay, so I did start slightly early. Did I stay too fast there? I think I stayed too fast there. I look like I start more in the right place there. So let's try just nudging all of this section back and seeing if that's now in time. Doesn't look bad. Sounds bad. Really ahead pretty much until it gets to here. So let's cut it here. There we go. We eventually end up sort of in time there. It's already sounding kind of weird. Still not really quite in time, because like that's come way sooner. But obviously these are then a little bit more stretched out, so I'm sort of playing slower than the tempo I really want to be playing. But then that one's a little bit fast. That almost feels like there's kind of a stop there, even though there isn't. Kind of feeling the fade, I think, is what's happening there, because it's happening right over that other drum. The good thing about this being pluck guitar is this works a little bit better when I'm plucking guitar like this. So there's more separation between your notes. Okay, I'm literally going to butcher this section and move things perfectly in time to show you why I would never want to do this. Okay, so as you can imagine, the rest of what followed was basically just the same kind of editing process, so we'll just speed through that, get to the next important bit. Okay. So, this is that section. I'm going to play from, like, here. Actually, give you from... versus which one of those sounds more robotic to you? Because personally, I would say the one where I've had to chop it all up to move it in time sounds way more robotic to me. Because you're not getting that natural flow, because obviously these are not how these notes were actually played. It sounds more like when you put things in with MIDI. Sometimes certain MIDI instruments can sound like this. Now, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. Sometimes you would want that sound. And obviously, if you're just recording a guitar completely without click and all that, it's not necessarily because what you're looking to do is then put it perfectly in time. What you might do instead is then, you know, one, have all the other instruments be hearing each other, trying to play in time with each other. Like, if you're recording all of the instruments at once and everybody can see each other and you're recording like a live session style, that works well. Because everybody can see and hear and feel each other as the session's going on. It's the same as like a live performance. And if that's the feel you're going for, if you're going for that live feel, then it's a different thing, isn't it? If you're looking to record a full produced track where you're recording each of the instruments individually, one at a time, it's basically impossible to get that perfect without a click. Now, if you're going to edit anything to be in time with other things, the drums are the better thing to do it with. More simplistic waveforms, basically. A hit of a snare or a hit of a kick is much simpler than a long strummed section on an acoustic guitar in terms of when you shift that in time, you're not really going to notice it being any different than if it was played naturally. Whereas when you're shifting something from a guitar in time, you're losing little bits of tail, those little inter-strum bits, they sometimes have to be shifted more in time as well. And if they're not hitting where they were originally, you can feel that that didn't naturally happen. And that's when you get that robotic feel, I think. I don't think you get a robotic feel from using a click. I think you get a robotic feel from not using a click or not playing well enough in time and then trying to fix that in post. Which is why, even for this one here, where I've recorded it to a click and it does sound better because I've recorded it to a click because I haven't had to do as much nudging things in time. But for this strummed section in particular, I would have redone that and got in it more in time. I would not go and try and fix a so poorly out of time section. Like, I didn't realize it was that out of time because I thought when I finished recording, I was like, yeah, that wasn't bad. And I didn't realize I'd ended up an entire beat later. I thought I'd managed to get myself back in time, but I actually hadn't really. I'd gotten myself back on tempo, but not back in time. Anyway, not the point. I got distracted again there. Point being, this one sounds better, but this section it would need to be redone because fixing it in post, that's when you start to get robotic. And even then, if you were so focused on because I think that's the other key, is getting used to playing with a click is actually more important than whether you should use one or not. Get used to doing it, because the more you get used to doing it, the less you have to sort of count and focus on the click, and the more the click becomes something you kind of feel as you play. I hope that video was helpful for anybody out there, and I aim to try and do a little series of these, so if there are any ideas for things that you want me to try trying to fix in post, I mean, obviously I'm going to do a really badly sung, out of tune vocal, but if there are any other ideas you have for this little series of fixing things in post and things you'd like me to try and see if I can fix in post, it's a fun challenge because it's a really good way of challenging your mixing and engineering skills as well. You know, this really tested my ability to actually get things back in time, because I can be quite bad sometimes with actually hearing which way I need to nudge something to put it back in time. If you enjoyed this video, then you might enjoy my content on this channel in general, in which case you might want to consider hitting that subscribe button. But I know that is a big decision to make, so do feel free to check out some of the other content on here before you do so, because you wouldn't want to subscribe and unsubscribe. If you want to keep up with my musicians' shenanigans in general, that is not that easy to say, then you can follow me on all of my social media, which are linked below. There are also links down there to my artist channels if you want to see my own original music and hear this song yet again in its full glory. And there's also a link down there to my Buy Me a Coffee, where if you want to support me with money, then you can. Okay, that is all for this video. I shall see you guys next time with another fun music-related video of some sort. Bye!